Hey guys, so if you're just getting started in wedding filmmaking or even just thinking about getting started, then you're probably wondering, what exactly do I need in order to get started? Well, in this video, I wanted to share with you guys what some of the essential items that you guys are going to absolutely need for that very first wedding film. And also wanted to comment on a few of the additional things that we use here in our business that aren't necessarily essential, but are definitely needed in order to take those wedding films to the next level. So to start us off, guys, the first thing that you're going to need, and you've probably already guessed it, is of course a camera. And when it comes to choosing the right camera for your wedding film business, you've probably discovered by now that there are a lot of options to choose from. For us in our business, we shoot on a combination of the Sony a7S IIs and the Sony a7 IIIs. The reason we choose these cameras is a combination of their portable form factor, the 4K footage and the overall image quality that they provide, and also the built-in stabilization within the cameras themselves. You can pick up an a7 III for around $2,900. It's a super good camera and it's also great at photos if you like doing photography as well. If you're on a bit more of a budget though, I would definitely recommend looking at the Sony a6400. You can pick this camera up for like about $1,500 or $1,600, so it's not going to break the bank, but also offers really good 4K footage and honestly has one of the best autofocus systems in any of the Sony cameras. So super good camera if you're looking for something a little bit on the cheaper end and just to get you started with your wedding films. So now that you've chosen your camera, the next essential thing you're going to need is of course some lenses. And when it comes to lenses, you really have two choices. You either have a zoom lens or you have a prime lens. So with a zoom lens, this obviously has the advantage of covering multiple focal lengths all in the one lens. This is going to save you a lot of space in your bag, and zoom lenses typically tend to be a lot cheaper than prime lenses. With prime lenses though, you are definitely going to have the advantage of having much better image quality in the glass itself, but obviously you're going to need to get quite a few prime lenses if you want to cover multiple focal lengths. If you're starting out, however, I would definitely recommend just picking up one or two zoom lenses to get started. This is going to be a lot more affordable to begin with, and you can actually cover a very large range of focal lengths just by having these two lenses. For example, you may want to get a 24 to 70 millimeter lens and also a 70 to 200 millimeter lens. And the reason for doing this is because you can essentially cover every focal length from 24 millimeter to 200 millimeter, all just with two lenses. We own both of these lenses. We use them both in weddings ourselves. And yeah, they're really good quality, and it's just a great way to save space in your bag, but have that flexibility in the focal lengths that you can potentially take advantage of during the wedding. If you have the space for it in your bag and in your budget, another lens I would recommend actually getting is a 50 millimeter prime lens. This is a great lens. You can literally get it in any brand, whether it be Sony, Canon, Nikon, Fuji, Panasonic, they all have it. The good thing about this lens is A, it tends to be quite cheap compared to a lot of other lenses, and B, the aperture range is really good because you can get them down to f1.8, 1.4, which is great if you want to have that in your bag and in your arsenal to get that nice shallow depth of field and also just let a lot of light in if you're shooting some quite dark scenes. For us, we use the Sony Zeiss 50mm 1.8. This is an absolutely great lens. I'm actually shooting on it right now. I think this is the lens I use most during all of our weddings. It's a really good lens and it's under $1,000, so definitely a good buy if you are shooting on Sony and you want to add that 50mm range to your arsenal. So moving on, the third essential thing that you guys are going to need in order to get started is audio gear. And audio gear is super essential to capturing those really important moments during the day, whether it be from the card readings in the morning to the ceremony and the vows, all the way through to the reception and the speeches. We strongly believe in capturing those moments with high quality audio gear so we can then easily integrate that into the film in post-production. When it comes to audio gear, there's really only a few things that you guys are going to need. The first thing is an audio recorder, and we use the Tascam DR-40. It's an awesome recorder, and it's a great way to get a direct line from either a speaker system or a mixer, either during the speeches or the ceremony. The next thing you're going to want to get is a lavalier mic. That's what I'm wearing right now to record the audio in this video. And we primarily use this to put it on the groom's jacket during the ceremony. and then we'll just tuck the recorder itself into its inside pocket. It's a really small recorder. The one I'm using right now is the Tascam DR-10L. And the third thing you're gonna wanna get is some various audio cables and adapters for your audio recorder. And the reason for this is because every wedding's different and they're all gonna have various speaker systems and mixers, and you wanna come prepared and know that you can go into any situation and have the right gear to be able to make that work with your gear as well. So the last thing you want is to be running around asking the DJ or the celebrant or the venue for various adapters and cables because you didn't come prepared. So if you need to know more about these cables and adapters, don't worry, we're gonna be doing a lot more videos like really in depth on audio, but as well as everything else covered in this video. So definitely don't worry, we're gonna dive in nice and deep on each of these topics at some point in the future as well. So we've now covered the 3 absolute essentials for you guys to get started with your wedding films. Something that are almost considered essential but didn't choose to include it in that top 3 list was a tripod or a monopod. And the reason I didn't include it is because the reality is it's honestly not 100% essential. I've shot weddings completely without a tripod or a monopod or any form of stabilization before, but especially with the Sony a7S IIs and the a7 IIIs, they have built-in stabilization into their bodies, so you can shoot a whole wedding handheld and have really stable shots to finish with. As well as having a tripod and a monopod, there are 2 extra things that I would recommend getting if you do have it in the budget and just want to up your wedding film game, is lighting and a stabilizer. Having lighting at a wedding is really valuable, especially during the speeches at the reception. The venues tend to dim the lights quite a lot and the lighting just tends to be very flat. So having some spotlights tend to be really good because you can separate the speaker from the background and just create a lot of shape and kind of make the image pop a lot more. We use the Came TV Boltzen LED Fresnel lights. They're really good lights. We just put them on a stand up at the back of the reception or off to the side, and they have little barn doors and the ability to actually spot in and out. So it's really good if you just want them off to the side somewhere and put a lot of light on whoever's doing the speeches at that time. And the last thing I would recommend, again, it's not completely essential, but it is really good to have and it increases your production value quite a bit, is a stabilizer. We use the DJI Ronin S. It's a motorized handheld 3-axis gimbal stabilizer. It holds the Sony a7 IIIs absolutely fine. And it's just a really good way if you want to get some nice smooth motion during your wedding film. We use this mainly when the couple is walking back down the aisle, so we can kind of walk back with them and just have that smooth motion. Other times, if we're out shooting just with the couple and getting a few cool location shots, this can be a really good time to use this stabilizer and create some nice movements going around the couple or setting the scene with a wider angle lens. So that's it, guys. I really hope you found this valuable. That just covers the essential items that you guys are going to need in order to make that start on your wedding film business. If you do think I have missed anything here, just please comment on this video or shoot me a DM. Or if you have any other questions relating to starting a business or wedding film related at all, just please shoot me a message. I'll be happy to help. But until then, I'll see you guys in the next one.